If you hang out with three idiots, you'll be the fourth.
It makes me want to get out of my apartment.
Yep.
It makes me want to, talk to these people and just have better relationships and just get out there. You know what I mean? It's just, and that's one of the things too, like not to get too philosophical, but it's like for me as a human and entrepreneur, I think we all need human connection.
Correct.
And if we don't have that, it's, it's not going to be good for us.
It's intoxicating.
Yeah, absolutely.
Being around great culture is very intoxicating.
Yeah.
When you're around good people, if you hang out with three idiots, you'll be the fourth.
I'm surrounded by idiots.
But it's the other way around. You hang out with three good guys, you'll be the fourth.
Yeah, we got to stop this podcast soon because I'm getting a little,
A little loose between the ears.
Oh man, Jesus.
Young drunk.
All right, so today on the New How podcast, we have the Boyle brothers in town.
Oh yeah.
So a little introduction. We'll do each individual, but Ryan here. Ryan's an entrepreneur that owns 2 7-figure service businesses, one being VioStorm Solutions, which we'll get into, which is a full-service stormwater maintenance company, and Trilogy Property Services that serves as a one-stop shop for all needs for commercial or industrial property managers. In his free time, he pretends to be good at golf. And he's at the gym and taking his dogs on long walks on the beach, ladies. And then I got Sean Boyle here, is a serial entrepreneur commanding a 7-figure digital marketing agency called Momentum and a real estate asset holding company, does real estate deals. He also founded the Sean Boyle podcast, which is going to be coming back to fruition here shortly.
Amen to that.
Weekly podcast on entrepreneurship, investing, and lifestyle. In his free time, you can find him working hard at the gym, training jiu-jitsu, holy shit, watch out, and then reading self-improvement books and dining at some of the best restaurants in Philadelphia, which obviously in Philly, we have the best restaurants.
There you go. All the best.
No one else can touch the Philadelphia restaurant scene. But welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you, dude. This is awesome.
And I was telling Terry, too, I was like, the last time I had 2 guests on, it's been a while, so this is always fun, like just a fun conversation, chopping it up about business and how you guys got into it and telling your story. So let's start with that. Obviously, 2 brothers, 2 entrepreneurs, doing different stuff and maybe some interrelated things, but let's talk about a little bit how you guys got into it. Like, why are you an entrepreneur today? Is it in your blood, or talk about that a little bit?
2 totally different paths, actually, from how we started our businesses. I was going into my senior year of high school, and my dad got into some trouble, which, funny enough, I found out from Fox Twitter. I was at the gym, and I got a call from my buddy. It's like, hey, your dad was just indicted. And I was like, that's got to be a joke. And then it wasn't a joke.
It was real.
It was very, very real.
All right.
And so I was actually really lost. I went into my senior year of high school. I was going to go to college. I kind of just like gave up on that idea. I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I took what everyone says, like, the gap year.
Take a year, get good at golf.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, And so I had a family friend who owned a construction business that was doing stormwater.
Okay.
And what happened was I was working there for about a year or so, and they were doing like the big install jobs, and they were giving me, because I was young and could work an iPad, just like the dumb maintenance
Take
stuff.
the
like,
pictures of...
Go take a picture of a pipe, act like you're doing your job, go put a smile on.
Yeah.
And quickly I realized, I was like, well, yeah, you can make big money really quickly doing the installs.
And what year was this? Like, how long ago?
This is right after I got out of high school. This is 2017.
2017.
Yeah,
cool. Right before we had to put face masks on.
I got hammered every day. After high school, senior summer in Wildwood, and then right after that, I was right into the construction.
Right into construction.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sean, what about you?
It's the same thing, honestly. So my dad, he owned a bar, the Boiler Room back in the day, and I got a call. He's a big party guy back in the day, and he was like, "Hey, we're gonna do this huge party." Ryan, you remember we were gonna do this like crazy thing for, because I was gonna be the first Boyle to graduate Roman since him.
Yeah.
Right. So one of those things. While we were doing a party here, and it was this whole thing. He calls me. It was a very ominous call. He's like, Sean, there's not going to be any party. I'm going to federal prison. And it was this crazy thing. And to the time that he told me that, Brian, I had no idea that he was even in any legal trouble to begin with.
And what's your age? Like, you're younger?
I'm older. So,
older. Yeah. So
this was
you were out already. You were out working, building stuff. Yeah.
Well, I was ready to go to college. That was the crazy thing, is I was ready to go to Penn State. And, I don't want to be too sentimental, but Ryan did something that probably is the most generous thing I've had in my life, where he actually said, and he doesn't like to admit it, but I want to give him a lot of credit, is he actually gave me his entire college fund to go to Penn State. And I'll always be indebted to him for that. That was the most generous thing ever. But yeah, that's kind of how we got into it.
He was taking iPad pictures so you go to college. He was doing that. That's what he was
Pretty
doing.
much.
Yeah, with girls and then the whole thing. Yeah, exactly. Right.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah.
We bring it all out on the show. We bring out where it all came, because everyone's got shit. Everyone came from something.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So it's always good to just talk about it and let others know, like, you're not alone. Like, I mean, shit. Dad's in getting
Yeah.
indicted. Like, what the fuck? So
Yeah.
And that was the whole thing, is
Yeah.
that, like Sean said it so perfectly, is that when that happened, like, we had no idea.
Yeah.
There was never an inclination. There was never anything where we were like, he's living this double life.
Yeah.
And it was a classic situation of someone being trapped and just couldn't ask for help.
couldn't get out,
And,
or
you know, not illegally, but I think that in business, that's one of the most common things that people get stuck with, is
Yeah.
that I learned quickly, is that you have to ask for help.
Yep.
And I think we can all agree that we've been there before. I mean, it's, you know, it happens. And, you know, he really turned his life around. He's a great guy today. He's
Yep.
hilarious. If you know my dad, you know he's a good guy to be around.
Yep.
But yeah, at the time, we were so taken back of what happened, and that just put us on the path that we are on now.
Mhm.
And in some ways, you know, it sucked. You know,
Yeah.
almost 5 years he was away really sucked. But I'm really grateful that it happened.
So talk a little bit about going from iPad pictures to like starting your own stormwater thing. Like, what was those steps? You were out there, you were learning, you understand like pipes, water goes and through it, drains from the sites. Like, talk to me
This is a
how
funny.
you got
This
there.
is a funny story.
Yeah.
So after I'm done, after I'm you know, in the business, I saw the vision for it.
Yeah.
I saw that the long term maintenance play for this is going to be really good, and that company I worked for went bankrupt, and I was
Okay.
like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. Like, I'm really young at the time. I'm 19. I have like no that much experience for someone to hire me and be like that.
And it just for the audience that might not know, like in Philadelphia, right? If you do these PUDs and a bunch of housing, there's always a stormwater component to
Yes.
like underground systems. And
Absolutely.
what people forget is like, all right, you buy this house and the HOA needs to maintain those
Correct.
things, right? Like, so
Yes.
you essentially, your company goes in and like cleans them out, keeps them operational,
Yes, yeah.
keeps the lifespan going, or replaces and fixes them. I'm sure,
Exactly.
too.
Yeah. When you build a basin or any kind of GSI in Philadelphia, or you know, now it's growing to other states, is you usually sign an agreement with the governing area of that that says that you have to maintain the system.
Yep.
And in Philadelphia, we have great incentives to maintain them systems, but other places, they just make you do it.
Yep. That's cool.
Yeah.
What about
It's
you,
pretty interesting. So it was honestly a perfect storm. So I was a sales intern for Mac. I was doing
Yeah.
engineering. You remember this? I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is crazy.
And Max, your partner, and
Business
Momentum?
partner, Mac
Yeah.
Frederick. Shout out to
Yeah.
Mac, a great guy. He's a brother at this point.
Yeah.
Honestly, I take a bullet for the guy. But I was doing engineering. Our stepbrother Liam, brilliant guy by the way. He works at this company, Aerojet Rocketdyne. Wife works at NASA. Crazy smart couple, right? I wanted to be just like him. I wanted to make the money. And all right, what's the most salaried, highest salaried thing in college? It's engineering, right? So I was like, all right, let me do this. Hated it. Got some decent grades. I was like, the people in here, like, I don't want to say they're nerdy, but they're like not my cup of tea. They're all right. So I talked to Irene Hurd. I can't believe I still remember her name. My advisor at the time. She's like, "Oh, Sean, you want a marketing thing, whatever, internship?" She gave me a stack of papers this high. I had to go through each of them
Here's
individually.
all the places you could go.
All the places. And the first one on the board was Momentum.
Really?
So I called Mac actually a year before I had my kind of sales role with them.
Yep.
And I'm like, yo, dude, I don't know anything about this, but I'm going to learn. I'm going to grow. So in a year, I'm going to talk to you. He's like, what? What are you talking about? That's crazy. And 1 year goes by and we were doing this blockchain stuff.
Yep.
Blockchain,
Of
crypto
course.
was kind of, and that's about 2019. So it was right before COVID. And I think the first summer, within 3 months, I sold like 300 grand in like ticket sales. I don't want to take too much credit because if you guys know what Talk To is, it's like a just chat bot.
Yeah.
I was giving out promo codes left and right. So I can't take all the credit. I was just doing a couple of copy and paste things there. But got into
And
that.
the events, you were selling events, like what type of events were they? Like,
Yeah, so it was down at Harrah's at Atlantic City. It was like
Okay.
this big crypto event. Damon John was there,
Nice.
Mr. Wonderful.
I remember that. I
Andy
didn't go to
Sharks.
it, but I know what it was.
Yeah, and it was great. I mean, Eric, the guy who put it together, serial entrepreneur, awesome guy. But the interesting thing was how we really were able to scale is during COVID.
Yeah.
So during COVID, obviously everything was like shut down. I had just graduated Penn State, popped a couple bottles of champagne over Zoom. That was fun. And what happened was that people needed these virtual tours. Which, if people don't know what it is, like virtual tours, real estate tours, Matterport, Cloud Panel, there's all these things, and obviously
Yep,
being in the
obviously,
business. And it's one of those things where if you have a restaurant, if you have a real estate place, if you have a hospitality place, you do the tour, you can go in and people can actually book right then and there, which is perfect. So,
And you can walk through it too and see like the restaurant before you go. Or
yeah, it's fantastic. You can add like a booking link, the whole thing. What I was able to do, and I don't want to take all the credit for it, but we started getting leads in Cleveland and Los Angeles. And I was like, well, what if we have a Google business profile here? So I was actually able to kind of reverse engineer it, talk to those techs out there.
Gotcha.
Hey, John Smith, do you mind if I use your address for this? And we can kind of be my main guy in Los Angeles. And we were able to scale.
And then you were booking them to go do tours and stuff out in those other locations.
Exactly.
So you were taking a little piece and they
would be, you know, Momentum 360 Los Angeles, John Smith. So they're branded. We have like the polos with the whole Momentum logo. So it's like, you know, very legit.
So your little Philadelphia base thing quickly grew national. You're doing different marketing in all these different cities.
Exactly.
Awesome.
It's perfect. And then obviously got me into real estate. So it was just using the power of Google and kind of leveraging that, which was kind of how I got my start.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So what have you guys talk a little bit about? All right, so you mentioned here both 7-figure businesses today. Like getting to be a 7-figure business isn't something that happens overnight, right? Like it's years of going at it. But like maybe you could talk about some of the instances of your business, like where like you had to bring on another employee or like your first step in that realm. Like maybe talk a little bit about that. Like
I'll tell you,
I know you're not the only one digging holes out there for stormwater stuff, right?
I'll tell you the first time we like got a good break. Like the first time that like it really started taking off was so just a quick backtrack real quick to get in the story is that when the company did go bankrupt, I put a one-liner on Indeed and I said I have this great idea for a stormwater maintenance company. I met my then employer at a bar. I'm underage at the time. And he watches me order a beer, has my resume next to him, and like was like, dude, we've all been there, we've all been young before, and we made a deal that night, and that's how I actually got the first start in this industry as being not just someone taking pictures of a manhole. Yeah. But fast track that is ton of cold calls, you know, just cold emails, leads, and then I had someone that was very uncompliant with their property. Yep. And I was going after them for so long, and I couldn't break through until the Philadelphia Water Department bailed me out and finally made this guy
do something,
fix something. Yeah. And I thought it was going to be a very small job, and something just transpired into a 7-figure job right then and there.
That was like your first like hit was a 7-figure job.
I knew nothing.
That's crazy.
I was so like, okay, well now this is 7 figures, and I have no idea what I'm doing right now. Like I know how to fix this.
My first job was a $200 rendering. Let's give you some context here.
Well, luckily I had a good ammo. We had a good arsenal from my employers at the time, his site work company. Cool. So we were able to get it done very right. But just seeing like all the paperwork in front of me and like just totally freaking out. And I just had really good support.
I need insurance. I need
just
like
everything. I was just like, oh my God.
As quick as you could run.
You need shirts? No, you need this insurance. Like you think it's gonna be this, it's gonna be that. And what really carried me through is that usually I will hold all that in, and I don't want to tell anybody what's going on. And I just was like talking to my dad while he was away, talking to my brother, and then just being like, hey, just reach out and just start asking people for help. Yeah. And that's what I did. And I had some really
turning over stones. It's like, that's
great
key.
People. Yeah. I mean, it was just something that just happened. We did a really good job.
Then you got your website up. You completed the job, built a website, I'm assuming, and like
pretty much. Yeah, from there. it was backwards from what it usually goes. Like
you got some business cards made afterwards, some T-shirts, right?
Yeah. I didn't know what to call myself. I was like Ryan Boyle, the laborer still.
That's awesome. Yeah. So let's go back. Let's fast track back to, all right, we're LA Momentum, right?
Yeah. Right.
Talk to me, like, how big did that end up going? Like, were you in every city? Are you still like, what's the status of where you're at now?
Yeah. So we're still in every city, and we have a Beth, shout out to her, my director, cousins of Mac actually. So decent blood there. So we'll see what happens, but thank God we have her. But it was crazy, man. I had a director at the time who just, talking about people and whatnot, had a scale. I think for me, the biggest thing that I realized was I need to have patience and I need to take myself out and delegate. Yeah. I was so much of a control freak, Brian, where I was like, oh my gosh, I got to do all this stuff. Like even to like the operations.
Of course.
But it's like, if I'm doing operations, I can't do sales, right? I can't be everywhere at once. So I had to take an ego check and say, listen, I need to delegate this to somebody else. And at the time, my director just wasn't cutting it. He was doing okay. We were working with Sony, Amazon to do some of their like fulfillment stores, some of that commercial, which were doing pretty solid jobs at the end of the day. And that was able to only scale as far as the fulfillment was. And we started working with these, people who, my main director just at the time was a little bit of a drug addict and, kind of alcoholic. And he was just schizo, call it for what it is. He just really didn't know what he was doing. So we lost a couple jobs here, didn't do the best job here, and that kind of hurt our credibility. But now the fact that we're actually able to invest in people and a solid A player at that director role was invaluable.
Yeah. So people are obviously, it's a people game in some way. What are some characteristics that you're looking for in your hires? Like, is there like one or two things that you're always looking for when you bring them on?
For me, it really depends on the hire because I am in the service business. So if we're looking for someone who's a laborer, I mean, it's really showing up on time, and I always tell people that we hire that, like, you always have room to grow with me. Like, I've been there. I've been the person with the shovel. And it's a lot. You know who actually gave me good advice on hiring?
Who's that?
Eric from Del Val.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Eric.
he said, like,
He was on the show.
I watched a little bit of that. He said, hire all the time. Just keep hiring, and when you're looking for people, it's just people that are really reliable. And all the way up from, like, the operational role that, like, we just onboarded someone this year who's been absolutely phenomenal. I think there's a little bit of, like, that X factor for me personally, is like when kind of thing.
Yeah.
Someone who just gets it, like the systems. And then it's like trial and error, a lot of it. I mean, like, the reliable, being honest is a huge thing, but I think any characteristic that you see comes out immediately within, like, 3 weeks.
Yeah, you're gonna know.
Yeah, and, like, everyone says, like, a lot of companies, like, you're on a 3-month, like, probation, like, that kind of thing. I'm like, dude, within 3 weeks we're gonna figure out.
Well, like, we usually think that, like, it takes 3 to 6 months for someone to fully acclimate into like the environment.
Sure, yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But there's flags before then you can recognize.
And talking about those red flags too, I think the biggest thing for me, because I'm a digital person, right? A lot of what I do is online, Slack, email, Google Meets, the whole kit and caboodle.
Yep.
The biggest thing for me is speed. It's like, why wait a week when we can get something done in a day? And that's not me being like, oh, the dictator, Sean, pound my chest. It's like, hey, listen, let's just make our lives easier and just progress to the next thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, for instance, I was talking to one account manager the other day, and you guys have a website, Design Blends. You guys have, like, a really nice website. One of our clients' websites had, I think it was like a blog post from like 2015, and it just wasn't updated to how it was like normally, right? It was like 2025. And I was like, dude, like, it takes a couple seconds, like a couple buttons you got to press, and you could have it be live. He didn't get that done until, I think, like,
Wow.
the following week. And I let him go the next couple of days. I'm like, what are you doing, man? We can't do this anymore. So I think speed's the biggest thing, because you can implement that, and just, it's one of the biggest characteristics I look for.
I'm curious, because I think this will be good, because obviously, like, New How podcast, building business, new age technology. I want to talk a bit about AI.
Yeah.
Right? Because I feel like a digital realm, you have the labor realm. I'm in, like, computer kind of translates to physical realm at some point. I want to talk a little bit about AI and what you guys believe is coming for your industry specifically, or are you already implementing certain things to speed up what you're doing?
It's external and internal. So for me, the externals with our clients. So we use, and a lot of people are like, oh, like, do you use ChatGPT to, like, write blog posts and, like, all this stuff? And you can. It's just, you have to have a human go in if you're talking about designs of an architectural structure, whatever the case is. If you're talking about stormwater management, you got to have that human component come in and change a couple words, because if not, it's going to sound weird and it's just not going to work. On the internal side with us, we're doing a lot of stuff. I posted a couple things the last couple of days about, like, I think I was like a medieval emperor from back in the day. It's like, how long I've been an entrepreneur? And it's like 2016, 1800 BC, stuff like that. I was like Ivan Terrible, And that AI, especially with content, with social media, I think is really, obviously, everyone's using it, I would say, for the most part. But in the future, it's going to get to a point where everything is going to be automated, even to a human capacity with writing and copy, and even doing ads, which I think is something too as time goes on.
I read something literally this week that they were saying all white collar jobs will be outdated in 16, 18 months, that AI will take their jobs. And I go, yeah, like someone's going to be right?
Yeah,
Who is it? And that's where, like, I get, obviously I run an architectural firm, right? So, like, I'm looking at it going, wait, can it design buildings someday? Is it going to be able to replace drafts people in my office? Like, that's a scary concept. 16 months from today, when us as visionaries are looking ahead going, well, do I need to keep hiring people right now?
I need to pivot.
I need to pivot.
I'll just say this. If your director, manager doesn't know about AI or isn't using it, that's a little bit of a fault. Is it going to, wipe out the whole white collar workforce? Not entirely, because physical things are still going to be physical. They still need to be done. So there's going to be robots. I'm sure they're coming on too. And, we can
Tesla's working hard on that.
Yeah, right. We can talk about that. But yeah, that's the biggest thing, I would say.
For what you said, Bri, I think that something that I always think about is that for the people that use your services, would they like an AI system? Would they like a Design Blends AI? Or do they like dealing with you? And is the price differential going to be so much where they would think about using it?
I think that's a great question. And I always said, what's crazy is, like, the soft skill side of things. I actually think that's going to win more and more, right? Because the automation, it's very easy to dictate, or concern what's AI and what's not AI these days, right? You'd be like, that was
Very
AI
true.
written, or that's an AI automation. Someone emails you, you're like, it's not even that person anymore. I think soft skills are going to win in the long term. I think that's what's actually going to be the differentiator. People are going to be yearning for those soft connections, right? Those one-to-one more than ever. So I think if you're really good at that, no matter what business you're in, you're going to decimate,
100%.
right? You're going to literally wipe the competition. Now on the AI side, right, when you ask, do they want to design one's AI automated system? I would tell you, like, for permitting, absolutely,
Sure.
right? If I can create a system, which we're building right now, an automated permitting system, right, dealing with cities and jurisdictions, at least even to start with when we submit it and when it pings back when something's ready, right? So there's not that human touch point having to happen to go in and check the system if it's back and all that. I think automation and AI around those things is going to just increase the customer service, where the customer can be like, thank you. Who gives a shit about the permitting process? I just want that as off my plate as possible, right? So I think how we're looking at it is those types of things within our business. Like, do I want someone having to go pick up 100 red lines on a drawing set, or can I start to automate some of that, or automate ways in which we dimension drawing sets? Because that's the tedious bullshit that takes away from actually doing good design work, right? So those are the things that we're looking at in our business going, no one gives a fuck about dimensions as long as they're correct in there. But if we can automate certain pieces of it or large chunks, my team can spend more time on making better buildings and safer buildings, right? So
that makes a lot of sense.
I like that. That's kind of how I feel about it too. Is that because we have our inspection software that we use, and we're implementing AI in that. And that, for my guys, for me, it saves so much time. Like, in that, I love it. But like the customer service side, dealing with AI from a customer basis, I'm not the biggest fan of.
The weird thing too is, like, some of the, like, we deal with geotech reports and things like that, like for drilling. Like, I know some people that are starting to automate that process, where like these reports to a certain point are automated, getting them to like 85%, and then it's like that last 15% the human is doing, and verifying certain things and cross-referencing, cross-checking. But I know AI is getting closer and closer. Like, you go ChatGPT a year ago, type in an ask, to today, it's light years ahead. Right. So that is already scaring people. The other challenge I think the world's going to have, in just our industries in general, I think you're going to have the moral component with your staff, right? We've seen it, like you see with like the AI generated images, right? I built my business on creating visualization products, right? That's where we started. If I can go in and create a rendering, it might not look as real as this one or as perfect detailed, right? But it at least gets you 80% of the way there. That's scary, but also from a moral standpoint, from the staff, they're like, well, we're used to getting paid to do this at that rate, and now we can do it in 10 hours versus to 20 hours. So what do? Do you reduce the price? Do you give it away, right? So there's certain things that I think all businesses are going to come into that realization, like, and the employees having that moral, argument with themselves, like, is this the right thing to move forward? So,
well, to your point too, with Sora, right? Some people are using that too, and we do a lot of video work too. I had a realtor the other day, and realtors, I love them, but notoriously cheap, right? They don't want to pay for their stuff, whatever. And if their brokerage isn't paying for it, they have, I don't have two pennies to rub together. They literally said to me, they're like, Sean, I can make a video on Sora tomorrow. That's going to be so much better than yours, just because of the speed and the quality. I don't necessarily agree with it. I don't think it's there yet. But listen, in a year from now, 2 years from now, that answer might be different.
But ByteDance just put out a new product. I don't know if you saw, where like it's literally taking away CGI. Disney just filed a cease and desist this week against ByteDance about their new, I think it's called Seed or something. It's literally a CGI program where you could be like, make Mickey Mouse wrestle Yoshi. And it'll like make it happen.
It was like, I saw on your Instagram store that
literally today,
Ninja Turtles coming out
fighting in a WWE ring, right? It's like, it's wild shit. But
crazy.
Like that is only going to compound. And my fear is like, you're not going to be able to stop it at a certain point, right? Because they're now, even like with Claude, I don't know if you've seen where you can bring your own chatbot offline. So like, what's to stop that person from making Yoshi fight Mickey Mouse? And is Disney just going to file cease and desist against the universe? I don't think so.
Right.
So it's going to be a challenge.
What do you guys think about, like, kind of what you guys are both talking about right now, but more directly, oversaturation of our markets? I mean, like, let's be honest, like, how many people you think right now could go in and just know how to even file a company or register a company? Like, I would say majority, maybe not. Like,
LegalZoom started that.
But like, right? Even someone that can go to LegalZoom and filling that out, like, compared to where I could sit in bed tomorrow and have AI do 90% of that. And if I wanted to start a stormwater company tomorrow, I could probably do it from my bed. And like, I understand that, like, we're good in our professions and it should be able to weed through that. But, it's the thing of like having like 100,000 stormwater companies out there that are just AI generated.
Yeah.
And people don't know how to pick, and like the oversaturation of the market.
Well, now so let's pivot a little bit, right? I got two people at this table that went to college. I got someone who didn't.
Right.
You think I have an 11-month-old daughter, but my wife and I joke like she's going to be a plumber, right? Like, do you think that there's even going to be a college pathway for kids in 15, 20 years from today? That's a scary. And I sit on a college board. I have a board meeting Friday at Jefferson, College of Architecture, right? And I'm like, what do you tell the school like what they should be doing?
That's so tough because, you know, at least like me and Sean's parents like always kind of said it was just like, you know, we'd like you to go to college, but like, you know, if you want to go do this, go do that. And like I agree with that. You know, like if you really want to be a plumber, go be a plumber. And plumbing might be the move right now because of the way things are going. As far as a college, I'm lost on that one. Like, you know, because colleges make a lot of money, you know, for having their degrees for what they are, and they want kids going to their schools. Like, how are they supposed to?
Like,
pivot?
you come out with a marketing degree today. What's the value of that?
That's what I'm saying. And how is college going to pivot on that?
Yeah, but I wish I saved myself some money and didn't go to answer your question. But I think honestly, Brian, what it comes down to is you need to be technologically savvy, especially with AI. I was over at Father Judge. I'm putting on an event March 20th. We can talk about it later, but they have an automotive section where they teach people all these different things of putting together a car and managing it. Like you said, these hard skills of blue collar work, which honestly, it's almost, am I going to say like dying necessity almost, where people just don't know how to do that anymore. And there's such a need for it. There's so much of a need for plumbers and HVAC. Now, how does AI, you know, fit into that? I think on the marketing and technological perspective, cool. You can have it. Awesome. But on a physical level, you're still going to need that human touch, that human component there.
I was just sitting in and I'll tell you where I think it's happening. And I sat in one of my leadership groups. I'm in Vistage. They brought in a speaker that I was like, oh, he's talking about AI. What does this guy know? This guy's probably the most brilliant person I saw talk about AI in person to date yet. He showed me, literally did a walkthrough of how he used AI on his own water heater at his house. Oh, wow. Right. So literally AI now is at the point where you could go be like, all right, my water heater's leaking. Right. And he had one of these fast systems where like, you know, auto heats, right? So it's not the tank, right? Instant heat, right? So he had his gaskets were leaking at top and he didn't know like what the hell to do. He literally started prompting AI, uploaded a picture of the area where it was leaking, told it about the area it was leaking. AI ended up scraping through, working through a process, ended up finding him deep in a Reddit forum about someone that dealt with this same issue on this water heater a year ago, ends up directing him to Amazon link, a $6 gasket that he bought the gasket, and then to a video on YouTube at like, you know, 3/4 away of a YouTube video of how to actually remove that part and replace the gasket.
Oh my gosh.
Just saved himself $500.
Guy, he goes, I couldn't change anything. He goes, I don't know how to change a toilet seat. Like it was hilarious, right? But like that's the power of what AI was able to do for him as a consumer to fix his own hot water heater in his house, right? So now I'm a HVAC company, like all my technicians should be utilizing that same technology to like diagnose stuff, right? So like I think AI is even going to infiltrate the blue collar side of things from that realm.
I agree. It's definitely going to infiltrate. And, you know, I always go back and forth about how much. I don't know how much AI is going to affect it. I know it is. And like you said, like, yeah, like they can use that and the plumber should be using that, but like how much business are they going to lose because someone can just go do that?
Well, it was funny. There's an HVAC guy in my group as well. And I turned on and said, what would you charge $800 to fix that? Like jokingly, he's like, at least.
Yeah.
Right. So it's crazy. Like now, you know, just the mass adoption eventually. That's someone that knows how to use AI well, is like, talks about AI and what it's doing to businesses. But I was just blown away. I'm like, I didn't even know it was capable of that. No. And he was also mentioning that the perception of AI right now, right? You have like the consumer that's like thinks it can only do this, and you have what AI is actually able to do, and that gap is widening rapidly on a weekly basis.
Unbelievable. Yeah. On a marketing level too, it's interesting because if you're Joe Schmo, didn't go to college, didn't even go to high school, like, you know, literally just got your GAD or whatever, you can learn how to grow on AI and like ChatGPT and rank. I mean, at least for me, like if I'm, you know, taking my girl out to dinner, you know, trying to find a new place, I'm not going on Google anymore.
Yeah, no.
I'm going on ChatGPT, and I can even put in certain parameters now. Best Italian restaurant that has classical music, blah, blah, whatever it is, right? So a blue collar worker could come in and be like, all right, cool, let's start to rank here. And it's very simple on how to rank on ChatGPT. Yep. We can get into it maybe, but it's just, it's never been easier to use that and rank it.
So what's next for you guys? So obviously you're growing your business. Like, are you guys looking at getting into other stuff? Like obviously, I said you guys are like, what are you doing together other than eating Thanksgiving dinner, right? Like, are you guys like intertwined in business or thinking of getting into the different business?
Funny you ask, bro.
Yeah, it's funny you ask,
Yeah.
Right now we're looking to potentially get into the bar business, and that's
Dude, let's
something-
open a bar.
Yeah. That's how it started. Funny because Sean actually doesn't drink, so I'm the one who had to convince him that we were
Mocktails on the menu.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
A lot of
something like
mocktails on the bar. Well, even bringing AI into it, that's something that AI would be really tough to replace. Like people love being around people, and a bar's a great time.
The coolest bar I've seen, it was like one where like it has like a stock market trading at the top where you go in there and like the drinks change pricing at all times. Like I thought that concept was pretty
I
cool.
like the way you think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll just say that. I like
something
the way
along
you
those
think.
lines.
Yeah. I remember seeing on Instagram, and they have like the market crashes and all the drinks go really low and everything, and people swarm the bar. Yeah.
Why bar? But I'm just curious why that next step for you guys. Like,
It's been in our family's history forever. I was actually on
you said the boiler room, Boyle. Yeah, I get that.
Our grandfather owned the bar, fair amount.
the Boyle Tumble In. I was actually on Perplexity looking at all that stuff and whatnot. And it just, we know hospitality. We know how to show people a good time. And just innately, too, like to be able to do something with the family.
Yeah.
I think, right, that's the biggest thing. Because at the end of the day, I'm not thinking of this thing like, sure, we all want to make money. We want this to be successful. But it's something where, at least for me and Ryan, we can pass off to our kids.
Yeah.
We can make it family. Oh, let's go to, whatever we're going to call this thing. And, go and enjoy a, Eagles game and have fun and call it our own. That's really what we're doing it for.
I'm curious from your standpoint because you mentioned like, oh, I popped a bottle on Zoom on my last college graduation. Yeah. I feel like COVID did a number on the bar hospitality.
Oh yeah,
big
industry.
time.
I feel like it really decimated it to the point where like, I have a business here on Main Street too. Like you look down what the street used to be on Main Street, Mania compared to like 6-8 years ago. Like it's like no one's here.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. I was in Cancun a couple weeks there. He was there last week. And I was at the resort, and I'll tell you what, man, people are still, even if they're on vacation, they're still wearing their masks and they're still afraid to go outside. I don't think it's a problem with the hospitality per se. I think it's the perception of, there's the boogeyman out there and you're going to get sick. It's like, listen, at the end of the day, we're all going to die. Why not have fun doing it and do something worthwhile? You know what I mean? But no, I agree. I think there's a little kind of weird stigma going on right now with hospitality.
I also think there's going to be a resurgence.
I agree.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it has to come back, right? There has to come back,
People need an outlet.
Yeah.
Need an outlet, something to do. We were talking before the podcast. You have some good ideas for just in-person things. That people do.
I run a haunted house. I get it. Like it's entertainment. People want to do something other than stare behind their iPads and computers and TVs all day, right?
Absolutely.
They want to get out and interface with the world.
Yeah, COVID did a number on people. I mean, even a lot of bar owners, restaurant owners, they needed to get the loan out, to keep going, and that just deterred so many people from doing it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that stigma is just kind of carried through right now. But I agree. I think there's going to be a huge comeback for that. People are going to want to do it, and got to answer that demand.
Yep. So back in your business, let's talk a little bit about culture, right? So obviously touch on the COVID thing. COVID did a number on cultures of businesses, right? People were in-house working, left, all going remote, coming back. Where do you see that realm being? Like maybe talk like, so I know your guys are out in the field, but like, are you guys in office, out of office? Like talk about some of your rituals around your people and what they're doing in that sphere.
Someone that really helped me with this is one of my partners, Dan. And I have two partners in my business. I have Dan and Todd. And Dan really helped me with that, where we have to be around each other nonstop. We delegate our time between our two businesses a lot. But he always said we always have to be the home base. Don't try to take on anything by yourself. And just being around my team.
You have an office for your team?
Yes, we have an office for the team. We have two offices. And we just lift each other up. And that's something that during COVID or even a little bit after COVID, like just being by yourself sucked. And I hated it. I would never want to work from home. I feel like I get nothing done. And that culture is just being around the office.
Yeah. I even know during COVID, like I had people reaching out to me because when they had to go home and work in small apartments or there wasn't space to work, right? People were like, can we just come work like separate in the office? Can we come back on weekends separate? Like I want to be out of the house. At least in our industry, I've seen other architecture firms that are still remote, still working out. And I actually, my challenge with the whole thing is I more worry about the younger staff and the training on them because they're not around seeing the moving and shaking of the profession, right? So you're not listening to the chaos or, hey, this problem just came in, or we found a really good idea how to resolve it. Like if you're only segmented in a Zoom at a certain time at a prescribed moment, you're missing the rest that's happening in that like studio culture, at least for my profession.
Yeah, well,
So-
too, is something that like you just touched on is that like you want that training as well.
Yeah.
Well, I also love the people I work with.
Correct.
So like you want to see that person you just hired and be like, this is a great place to work, man. Like, come on, like be a part of the team. Like, let's go. Like, let's go to war together.
Yeah.
And that's something that you know can't do remote.
What are you seeing with
Well,
momentum?
I was just going to say, I second what he says because, and me more than anybody, because we're fully remote for the most part,
Yeah.
right? I have an office at Pyramid Club. I have an office at Fittler Club.
Yep.
And it's just Mac and I going back and forth, which is fine. But it's like, how do you create? That's the biggest question for me. It's like,
Yeah.
how do you create great culture with, for the most part, a fully remote work environment? And for me,
Yeah.
what I like to do, and I got this from Ray Dalio, who's honestly one of my, I love that dude. He's fantastic. There's two things I like to do. One is we do an MVP of the month, right? And I really like to have that person local for the most part, whether they're in Ohio or Philly or New York or whatever. I'm saying, listen, come out. I'll take you out in the city.
Yep.
And a lot of these people have never met me in person, which is the craziest thing, right? So to be able to come out, have a nice dinner, we'll go to a comedy show or whatever, get them a little tipsy and fucking just have them have fun. Like that's really what it's all about, right?
Yep.
And then on top of that, the second thing, which is a pretty exciting thing we're doing, is we probably have a staff now of close to 100 people, right?
Spread out all around.
Across the United States, and even some overseas people too.
Yep.
Now I don't know if the overseas people are going to want to come to this, but we'll have to see. Might have to get a couple Emirates tickets left, right, and center.
Next few months from now, they might want to come.
Yeah. we're
FIFA.
Yeah, we're planning an event. It's not like official yet, but it's going to be later this summer where we're going to have like a momentum mixer. But it's going to be like a 3-day event. It's going to be crazy. Mac and I are throwing around some ideas, but I want to blow it out of the water just because we've grown so fast for so long, and just to be able to reward these people.
Yeah.
Like Ryan said, blood, sweat, and tears to be able to, just grow and scale. Like these people, they need to have that human connection, not just, oh, here's your paycheck, great job. You know what I mean? They want to feel immersed in that kind of momentum build, and they're going to be better off for it and want to scale.
I am seeing a glimmer of hope in it all because I've been, obviously we're looking to hire people. We've been interviewing. One of the women I interviewed recently, she was like, how many days a week are you guys in the office? I said 4, and Fridays are optional hybrid, but really they're like a third of my office is still in on Fridays.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's like, thank God.
That's
what she
awesome.
said. Literally in interviews, like, thank
Seriously.
God. Because she goes, all the other places I've been looking, they're remote, they're hybrid. I'm like, what am I just a number? Like, so I actually think this next generation is coming out of school and graduating, like they are pissed off that they had to deal with what they dealt with. It's like, no, I want to be learning and growing and around other humans. And I think that's a glimmer of hope for this work from home
It's an
environment.
opportunity as well on job postings. Oh, we're going to get you hammered or whatever. No, not exactly. But, it's like you can actually have like a fully immersed culture. The one thing that's interesting too is I live on 16th and Spring Garden, right across from CCP. And I will say it's amazing. People are going back in the Comcast Center. The financial district is buzzing again.
They're bringing everybody back.
They're bringing everybody
New York,
back.
they're bringing people back, I
And,
hear. Yeah.
Dude, it's just like it makes me want to get out of my apartment.
Yep.
It makes me want to, talk to these people and just have better relationships and just get out there. You know what I mean? It's just, and that's one of the things too, like not to get too philosophical, but it's like for me as a human and entrepreneur, I think we all need human connection.
Correct.
And if we don't have that, it's, it's not going to be good for us.
It's intoxicating.
Yeah,
Being
absolutely.
around great culture is very intoxicating.
Yeah.
When you're around good people, if you hang out with 3 idiots, you'll be the 4th. But it's the other way around. You hang out with 3 good guys, you'll be the 4th.
Yeah, we got to stop this podcast soon because I'm getting a little,
A little loose between the ears.
Oh man, Jesus. No, that's awesome. So, all right, so let's bring it back a little bit to some entrepreneurship tips and tricks. So, like everyone's got their one-liners. Like mine is always like, oh, you can climb the ladder, but you got to make sure you hit every rung, right? Like, or you're going to slip and crack your teeth, right? Like, talk to me about some like maybe one-liners or things that like stick with you that have helped you like keep going and keep climbing the quote-unquote ladder.
Mine is patience is better than pride.
Okay.
Is the biggest thing is that, I had to be really patient getting into my businesses and understanding that I don't know everything right away and just checking my pride. And I think that if you come from a standpoint of that, you can learn then. And once you allow yourself to be able to learn, sky's the limit.
I have a tip because patience, I struggled with patience for a very long time. I'll tell you how I taught myself, and it happened to be a hobby. I love playing poker. And there's nothing like losing lots of money by not being patient to teach you patience. It's how I fast tracked it. I go play poker and I'm patient and waiting for the right hand, waiting for the right opportunity, right? So it's like that helped train me.
So
It's crazy to say.
So go to the casino.
Go to the
tonight?
casino and
We'll go to
gamble,
live right
go
now.
to live and play poker.
You know we're
and
doing
sit
after this
there-
podcast.
Sit there and learn patience. That's good though. That's good.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Mine's a little less kind, I would say. It's more about scaling, but it's you always want to address the bottleneck. You always want to address the bottleneck. For me, it's been something where, and I struggle with patience too, man. It's one of those things.
Poker.
Seriously.
Buy in for $400 and lose it a few times. You can be like, I got to be patient. I got to train you.
Can we go to AC after this? But no, it's one of those things for me. Like and Elon Musk, I think says this too, is like, oh, how are you able to grow and scale these companies, the billions of dollars in a few years? And sure, the hundreds of millions of funding is obviously helping out too. The banks love them, but he's constantly addressing, okay, what's wrong? What can I improve on, et cetera. And for me, like, that's just the way I think. I mean, Ryan knows this. Is like, I have just such like a intrinsic, not OCD, but just like hyper focused kind of attention on improvement. And it's like, well, what can we be doing differently? Let's shake things up here, this, that, and the third. And that's worked for me. But to Ryan's point too, is patience is such a virtue, and checking your ego out the door too is very neat as well.
One other thing I always ask is I want to understand your guys' habits, right? Because you can read The Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss. He'll interview the biggest people in the world, tell you their habits. I want to know like habits that you guys have, like your routines. Like what do you do? Like when do you wake up? What do you do to kind of prime yourself for the day? Talk a little bit about that. And if you don't do, that's okay too. I want to just know like what you do. Like what does your morning look like?
Yeah, so my morning really depends on just what I have that day, if it's on site or in the office. So it's usually like between a 5:30 and 6:30 wake up time. And then
that's early.
Something that I do really to ground myself is just making my own coffee and just being with my dog a little bit. Best part about having the dog is that they're just always happy to see you and they don't care about anything else. So it's a very grounding thing for me. And I try not to be on my phone as much as I can in the morning just to start my day. And then I try to end my day, like I said, with just like taking the dog and just going on a walk to clear my head.
Do you have like a hard stop at night? Like you're like, I'm out, I'm doing what I gotta do, hustling. Like you're like, I'm done at 11. I gotta take an Uber home, or like.
Unfortunately, not, because nights are probably the worst for me, because in my business we do have emergency calls all the time, and so like right around that 9:30, 10 o'clock bedtime,
There's water everywhere.
Yeah,
Get out
exactly.
here.
It's pouring rain.
It's pouring rain.
Trying
Get
to
out
to bed
here.
and I can hear it on my ceiling. Yeah. So nighttime is not the most routine. It's more the morning for me.
Nice, cool. What about you?
I'm pretty disciplined, man. I wake up around 5 as well. And
5? Oh my God, I got to get up earlier.
Well, I just got this. I just got this Whoop. Shout out to Mac, my business partner. He gifted me with this thing, and I'm always like, oh, health optimization.
Does it vibrate your wrist to get out of bed? Because that's what I probably need.
I need something better than that, honestly. I'm a deep sleeper, but 5 a.m. wake up. I hit the gym immediately. No pun intended. I like to start my
5
day.
days a week.
5 days a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
I do a lot of jiu-jitsu, do a lot of Muay Thai, weightlifting. I'm actually training for a marathon later this summer. But for me, man, it's like, no pun intended, I want to start my day with some sort of momentum. I want to have some sort of positive, energy going into the day. Tony Robbins talks about this all the time, and I know it's kind of cliche, but it's just like having that kind of internal kind of beast, animal.
Prime yourself, right?
Yeah,
he talks
exactly.
about prime
yourself. Yeah, and it's so important. So I'll do that, go plan my day. I'll, for the most part, have my planner already set out. I don't like to make any important decisions, for me at least, past noon. I feel like my brain, just for me, like Sean Boyle, I'm not as sharp in the afternoon and evening as I am in the morning. I think maybe we can all attest to that. But for me, that's what I like to do. And like Ryan said, I mean, my dog Mateo, Golden Doodle, this is a total nut job, right? But he grounds me and just allows me to be able to kind of be in my own world. I don't need to worry about unpaid invoices, or this person's disputing this, or this person's, wants to be fired or whatever. It's, let's, go out to the trail, have some fun and enjoy it. So, and faith is also a big thing too. I'll mention that as well. I went to the St. Peter's Cathedral for Ash Wednesday today. And, faith, at the end of the day, I pray 3 times when I wake up, lunch and at dinner. And that, for me, I'm a big routine guy and consistency. That's been something.
There's something, because I've always struggled with routine in the morning. It's always been like a thing. Like we even started business, like roll out of bed across the hall into like our office when we it was always and then going to architecture school, you're fucking days, you're up in the studio till 2 a.m. Getting up for class. So struggle with me for mornings. And it finally like dawned on me, like I had to like try to start getting a real routine going. I recently found a book called Miracle Mornings.
Great book.
So I've been doing for a few weeks, I've been doing my Savers. So it's every morning, and you can do them as fast as 6 minutes. So there's like a whole thing, like there's a whole group where like it's zero excuses and bullshit if you can't have well, quote unquote, a miracle morning, and it's around. I'll explain real quick. It's so you practice your savers every morning. So it's you're in sitting in silence, right? Then A for affirmation. So you're like, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to whatever, spend more time with my family. I will make sure you start in your head saying those things. Then you visualize what you're trying to do, right? I want to grow a national architecture firm. I see offices in other cities and states, right? And then it's you do your E, so say SAV, and then E is energy. So it says if you don't have time for the gym, that's bullshit. It's okay, but you better do fucking jumping jacks for a minute or something. Get your energy going at a minimum. And then the other one is writing. So write down. So like I have a Remarkable shout out. I've sold probably over 100 of these. If Remarkable wants to sponsor something, it should be this damn podcast. But I write in my Remarkable every morning about what I'm trying to accomplish for the day or for the week and making sure I'm on track. And the last one is sorry, it was I said R. R is reading and then scribing, which is scribing. But I read. I try to read 10 pages in a book in the morning. Yep. So so you do that every morning. You can do it in like 6 minutes, they claim, but usually it takes to feel really good is like an hour, right? So you work out, even if you work out for 20 minutes of that hour to get your energy up, it's better than zero.
Well, you feel like you accomplished.
Oh yeah,
it's like oh my gosh, you got that hit of dopamine, and you're like, oh, I'm freaking unstoppable.
No, it's been making my last 3 weeks very more effective.
It's fucking awesome.
Like way more effective. So I'm sticking with it. I'm like, it's easy. And again, back to the 6 minutes, like I can do this in 6 minutes. Even if I have a crazy morning, I got to be at some place downtown at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. I can find 6 minutes before then to like focus for the day.
It's realistic.
It's realistic. And that's the first thing I found. I didn't realize how big this community was. I'm like, holy shit, look at all these people like crushing the world. And I'm like, I just learned about it, a month ago.
Awesome. Yeah.
So
I like that a lot. What's the book called again?
It's called Miracle Mornings.
Miracle Mornings.
I forget the author's. I think his name's Hal something.
Yeah, I don't forget his last name.
Yeah, but Miracle Mornings. Highly recommend it for anyone listening.
Yeah, I do like that a lot.
Yep. Any last tidbits, guys, before we let everyone switch to their next podcast or turn on 94.1 to see how the Phillies are talking about each other?
I wish I had a good one-liner for you, but I don't.
Yeah, same here. I'm sure I could drop a couple bombs, but no, I think as time goes on, like we're all integrated with like our businesses and scaling. And I mean, for me, it's you got to take care of what's important. Your family, don't forget that.
Yep.
Check in with your friends. And for me, like I said, like I don't want to make this like a bomb drop about like Jesus and whatnot, but it's like it's really important to me. It's a foundation where even if it's not religion, find your rock, found your foundation, because it can't just be about work. You got to have that outlet, and if you don't have that outlet, you're gonna kaput. So you got to find that.
Well, Boyle Brothers, I can't thank you enough for coming on. I'm glad I got you out here. It's awesome.
Thank you,
lots of drops and value for the listeners. So I'm sure they're gonna appreciate it. So
Absolutely.
thanks again.
Thank you.
Brother. Cool. It was our pleasure.
Young John!